Marcus's hand clamps around her throat until a shadow
Let her
cuts through the
go,
bar lights.
now.
The Mafia boss steps in, voice low enough to stop every heartbeat. Let her go. But when Marcus laughs and reaches for the knife he swears will end her, Leo takes one step closer, and the whole bar realizes someone isn't making it out alive tonight. If this story pulled you in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. I've got another unforgettable story dropping tomorrow. And while you're here, jump into the comments and tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing our community from all around the world. Alright, let's get back into it. They say every life has one moment where everything splits in half, the before and the after. For Cheryl West, that moment lasted exactly 5 seconds. Marcus Ryder's fist slammed into the wall beside her ear, rattling the glasses on her tray. His finger jabbed her cheekbone hard enough to break skin. Blood trickled warm down her face. "You don't break my rules," he snarled, whiskey breath flooding her senses. "Not in my bar." His crew circled her like wolves. Laughter echoed off the neon-lit walls of Rusty Jack's. The tray slipped from her trembling hands. Glass exploded at her feet, shards glittering like broken promises under the red lights. The bar went silent, not out of sympathy, out of anticipation. Cheryl's chest tightened. She scanned the room desperately. No exits within reach. No allies among the faces staring back. No help coming. 1 second. Marcus grabbed her apron, yanking her forward so hard she stumbled, his other hand fisted in the fabric of her uniform. The crowd pressed closer, phones out, recording her humiliation. 2 seconds. Cheryl's breath caught in her throat. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She'd cried enough in her life. Not here. Not in front of them. 3 seconds. His hand rose, veins bulging in his tattooed forearm. His crew cheered him on. Someone yelled, "Teach her, Marcus." The room smelled like violence waiting to happen. 4 seconds. A shadow shifted behind him, heavy, deliberate, dangerous. The air changed. Even through her terror, Cheryl felt it, like a storm rolling in. 5 seconds. Leo Castellano stepped forward. Black suit, perfectly tailored. Neck tattoos crawling like dark flames up to his jawline. Eyes the color of winter steel, cold enough to freeze the room mid-breath. "Let her go," he said. Not loud, not angry, just final. Marcus's grip loosened. His face went pale under his tan. The crew took a collective step back, their bravado evaporating like smoke. Leo didn't move closer. He didn't need to. His presence alone rewrote the entire scene. "Now," Leo added, his voice dropping even lower. Marcus released Cheryl so fast she nearly fell. He raised both hands, backing away. "Hey, Leo. We were just messing around, man. Just bar stuff, you know?" Leo's gaze moved to Cheryl. For one impossible moment, something almost human flickered in those cold eyes. "You hurt?" Cheryl touched her cheek. Her fingers came away red. I'm okay." "No," Leo said quietly. "You're bleeding. Rita, get the first aid kit." The older waitress scrambled behind the bar. Leo's attention returned to Marcus. "You're done here tonight. You and your boys. Leave." "Come on, Leo, Now." The single word carried the weight of an executioner's blade. Marcus and his crew filed out in silence, shooting looks back at Cheryl that promised this wasn't over. The door swung shut behind them. Slowly, conversations resumed. Glasses clinked. The jukebox kicked back to life. But everything had changed. Leo gestured to an empty booth. "Sit." Cheryl's legs carried her there on autopilot. Rita appeared with the kit, shooting Leo a nervous glance before hurrying away. He opened it, pulled out antiseptic wipes, and sat across from her. "May I?" He gestured to her face. She nodded, too stunned to speak. His touch was surprisingly gentle as he cleaned the blood away. Up close, she could see the details, the scar through his left eyebrow, the precise line of his jaw, the way his tattoos formed an intricate pattern of roses and thorns. "What's your name?" he asked. "Cheryl." "Cheryl West." His hand paused, just for a fraction of a second. His eyes sharpened, searching her face. "West?" "Yes." Something shifted behind his expression, recognition, maybe, or calculation. But when he spoke again, his voice remained steady. "How long have you been working here?" "Cheryl?" 3 weeks. "And Marcus? He's been bothering you?" She hesitated. In her experience, telling the truth only made things worse. But something about Leo Castellano made lying feel impossible. "Yes, since my first shift." Leo nodded slowly, placing a butterfly bandage over the cut on her cheek. That ends tonight. You don't have to. Yes, he interrupted quietly. I do. He closed the first aid kit and stood. For a moment, he looked like he wanted to say something else. Instead, he pulled a business card from his pocket and placed it on the table. Plain white. Just a phone number in black ink. Someone bothers you again, call that number. I don't understand. Why are you helping me? Leo's jaw tightened. Let's just say I owed someone a debt. Maybe I'm starting to pay it back. Before she could ask what that meant, he was gone, disappearing into the back of the bar where shadows swallowed him whole. Cheryl sat there, trembling, the adrenaline finally crashing through her system. She picked up the card, memorizing the number before tucking it into her apron pocket. Rita materialized beside her. Girl, do you have any idea what just happened? A fight? That wasn't a fight. That was Leo Castellano declaring protection over you. Rita's voice dropped to an urgent whisper. In front of everyone. Do you know what that means? Cheryl shook her head. It means you're untouchable now. But it also means... Rita glanced around nervously. It also means you just became part of something way bigger than a waitressing job. Cheryl touched the bandage on her cheek. Her reflection stared back from the mirror behind the bar, a young woman with blood on her uniform and terror in her eyes. But for the first time in 3 months, she wasn't completely alone. She just didn't know yet that Marcus Ryder recognized her, that he'd been waiting for the right moment to finish what started months ago in another city, or that Leo Castellano had just started a war to keep her alive. If she had known what her presence in Rusty Jack's bar would unleash, she might have kept running. But then again, some debts demand to be paid, and some moments 5 seconds or 5 years change everything. Cheryl didn't sleep that night. She lay on the thin mattress in her room above Ortega's pawn shop, staring at the water stain on the ceiling that looked like a twisted face. Her cheek throbbed where the butterfly bandage pulled at her skin. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Marcus's fist coming toward her face, and Leo Castellano stepping between them like fate itself. I owed someone a debt. What did that mean? Who did he owe? And why did his expression change when she said her last name? At 6 a.m., she gave up on sleep. She showered in the cramped bathroom with the door that didn't lock properly, dressed in her spare uniform. The blood-stained one was soaking in the sink, and headed to the diner 3 blocks away for the breakfast shift she'd picked up to make extra money. The owner, Mrs. Chen, took one look at her face and frowned. What happened? I fell. Cheryl lied smoothly. She'd gotten good at lying about injuries over the years. Mrs. Chen didn't believe her that much was obvious, but she handed Cheryl an apron anyway. Table 6 needs coffee. The day crawled by in a blur of orders and forced smiles. By the time her shift at Rusty Jack's rolled around, exhaustion had settled into her bones. But she needed the money. Always needed the money. She arrived 15 minutes early. Like always. Jack was behind the bar, restocking bottles. Heard you had some excitement last night, he said without looking up. Word traveled fast. It's handled, is it? Now he did look at her, his expression unreadable. Leo Castellano doesn't step in for just anyone, girl. You related to him or something? No, I don't even know him. Then why? Jack shook his head. Never mind. Not my business. But if Marcus comes back... He won't, Rita said, emerging from the back. Not after last night, Leo made it clear. Jack grunted and returned to his bottles. Rita pulled Cheryl aside. You need to understand something. Marcus Ryder doesn't own this bar, but he acts like he does because nobody's ever challenged him. Until last night, I didn't ask Leo to... Doesn't matter. What matters is Marcus has rules. Everybody knows them. Rita counted on her fingers. 1. Never touch his table, even to clean it, unless he says so. 2. Always serve him before his crew. 3. Never contradict him, even if he's wrong. 4. When he calls you, you come immediately. You broke all 4. Cheryl's stomach twisted. I didn't know. That's what makes it worse. He thinks you were disrespecting him on purpose. Rita's voice dropped. And there's something else. The way he watches you, it's not normal angry. It's personal. Personal? I just started working here. I know. That's what's weird about it. Rita glanced toward the door nervously. Just be careful. Leo can't be everywhere. The night shift started slow. Cheryl moved through her tables mechanically, her mind elsewhere. She kept expecting Marcus to burst through the door, kept checking the exits, kept feeling phantom hands grabbing her collar. At 8:30, a regular named Tommy ordered his usual bourbon. As Cheryl set it down, he looked up at her with bloodshot eyes. You're the girl from last night. I'm just trying to work. Marcus is telling everyone you're a snitch. Says you came to Rusty Jack's to spy on people. Tommy leaned back. Says you testified against someone in another city. Got them locked up. Cheryl's blood turned to ice. That's not true. Maybe. Maybe not. But Marcus is connected, you know? He's got friends who believe him. She walked away before Tommy could see her hands shaking. Marcus is telling everyone you're a snitch. The lie was genius in its simplicity. In a place like Rusty Jack's, being labeled a snitch was a death sentence. It didn't matter if it was true. Once the rumor spread, people would turn on her. Cheryl was wiping down a table when she felt that crawling sensation of being watched. She turned slowly. Leo Castellano sat in his usual booth. She hadn't heard him come in. He was just there. Black suit, cold eyes. A single glass of whiskey in front of him, untouched. Their eyes met across the bar. He nodded once in acknowledgement. Maybe a question. You okay? She nodded back, though it was a lie. At 9:15, 3 of Marcus's crew walked in. Not Marcus himself, he was smart enough to stay away. But Danny, Miguel, and a guy everyone called Sketch walked straight to Marcus's table and sat down. Rita grabbed Cheryl's arm. Don't go over there. They're in my section. I don't care. Let Jack handle it. But Jack was in the back, and the men were staring at her, waiting, testing. Cheryl took a breath and walked over, notepad ready. What can I get you? Danny smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Well, the famous Cheryl West. Marcus says hi. Your order? She kept her voice steady. He also says you're not welcome here anymore. Danny leaned back. Says you should pack up and leave Ravenna Hills. Tonight. I'm just trying to do my job. Your job? Sketch laughed. Your job is getting people hurt. That's what snitches do. I'm not. 3 beers, Danny interrupted. And make them fast. We're in a hurry. Cheryl walked to the bar, her pulse hammering. She poured 3 drafts with shaking hands. When she returned, Danny accidentally knocked the tray as she set it down, sending beer cascading across the table and onto her uniform. Oops, he said flatly. Guess you better clean that up. The bar watched in silence. Cheryl grabbed a rag and started wiping the table. Danny's hand shot out, gripping her wrist hard enough to hurt. Marcus wants you to know something, he whispered, pulling her close. He knows who you are. He knows what you saw, and Leo Castellano can't protect you forever. Before she could respond, a shadow fell across the table. Leo stood there, eyes fixed on Danny's hand wrapped around Cheryl's wrist. Let go, Leo said quietly. Danny released her instantly, hands up. We were just talking, Leo. Just conversation. You're done talking. You're done drinking. You're done being here. Leo's voice remained conversational, almost pleasant. Leave. Don't come back. Marcus isn't going to like. I don't care what Marcus likes. Leo's expression didn't change. Tell him if he has something to say, he can say it to me. Directly. Not through you. The 3 men scrambled out like the building was on fire. Cheryl stood frozen, rag still in her hand. Leo turned to her. We need to talk. After your shift. It's important. About what? His jaw tightened. About why Marcus Ryder recognized you. And about your father. The world tilted. My father? Finish your shift, Cheryl. Then we'll talk about what you saw 3 months ago, and why you're still running. The last hour of Cheryl's shift dragged like pulling teeth. Every customer seemed to move in slow motion. Every drink order took twice as long. And through it all, Leo Castellano sat in his booth, watching. Not watching her. Exactly. Watching for her. His eyes tracked every person who came near, every movement in her direction. It should have felt intrusive. Instead, it felt like the first full breath she'd taken in months. When midnight finally came, Jack locked the front door and jerked his thumb toward the back. You 2 need privacy. Use the office. I'm going home. Rita squeezed Cheryl's shoulder on her way out. Whatever he tells you, listen. Then they were alone. Leo gestured to a small table away from the windows. Cheryl sat, her apron still damp with spilled beer, her entire body vibrating with exhaustion and fear. He sat across from her, and for a long moment, he just looked at her. Really looked, like he was searching for something specific in her face. You have his eyes, he said finally. Cheryl's throat tightened. Whose? Daniel West. Your father. The name hit her like a physical blow. She hadn't heard anyone say it out loud in over a year. How did you? I knew him. Leo's voice carried something she hadn't heard before. Grief, maybe, or regret. Not well. but enough to owe him my life. Cheryl gripped the edge of the table. My father died 4 years ago. I know. And I'm sorry. Leo leaned forward slightly. He was undercover, DEA, working a case that involved several criminal organizations in the Eastern District. One of those organizations was connected to people I do business with. Your Mafia? Yes. He didn't flinch from it. Your father could have burned me and half my operations. He had enough evidence. But he didn't. He understood the difference between people who chose this life and people who were born into it. He gave me a chance to separate myself from the violence, to build something cleaner. Cheryl's hands trembled. He never told me any of this. He wouldn't have. He kept you separate from his work. Protected. Leo's jaw tightened. 4 years ago, someone set him up, made it look like a drug deal gone wrong. He was killed before he could expose a corruption network that went all the way to the precinct captain. I know how he died, Cheryl whispered. I was 17. They told me it was an accident. Wrong place, wrong time. It wasn't. Leo pulled out his phone, scrolled through something, then turned it toward her. This is the classified report, the real one. Cheryl stared at the screen. Official letterhead. Her father's name. Cause of death. Execution-style gunshot wound. Suspected inside job. The room spun. Inside job? Someone in his own department sold him out. Someone who's still out there. Leo pulled the phone back. After he died, I tried to find out who. But the case went cold. The people involved disappeared. Until 3 months ago. Cheryl's blood turned to ice. 3 months ago, Leo continued, his voice steady and relentless. There was an incident in Sacramento. A violent altercation outside a warehouse. 2 men arguing. One pulled a gun, shot the other 6 times, left him in the alley to bleed out. Cheryl closed her eyes. She was there again, walking home from her waitressing shift, taking the shortcut through the industrial district, hearing the shouting. You saw it, Leo said quietly. Didn't you? I didn't mean to. Her voice cracked. I was just cutting through. I heard yelling and I should have kept walking, but I looked. She remembered the streetlight flickering, the 2 men in the shadows, one grabbing the other by the jacket, and the gun. 6 shots that echoed like the end of the world. I ran, Cheryl whispered. I didn't call the police. I just ran. You were smart to run, Leo's voice gentled, because the shooter was Marcus Ryder. The name landed like a bomb. What? The man he killed was a DEA informant, someone who was about to testify about the same corruption network that killed your father. Marcus was hired to eliminate him. Leo leaned back. When you ran, he saw you, got a good look at your face. He's been hunting you ever since. Cheryl's mind raced. The sudden moves, the new cities, the feeling of being followed. But how did he find me here? Because 3 weeks ago, you made a mistake. You used your real name on a job application. She had. She'd been so desperate, so broke, she'd stopped being careful, stopped using fake names. Marcus has connections, Leo continued. People who run background checks for cash. Someone flagged your name. He's been waiting for the right moment to finish what he started that night. Why not just kill me? The words tasted like ash. Why torment me first? Because he's not sure what you saw. Not sure if you told anyone. Not sure if there's evidence somewhere. Leo's expression darkened. The harassment, the rules, the public humiliation. It was all designed to break you down, make you desperate enough to run again. And when you ran, he'd follow. Make it look like an accident somewhere outside the city. Cheryl felt tears burning behind her eyes. So I'm dead either way. No. The single word carried absolute conviction. Not while I'm alive. Why? She demanded, her voice breaking. Why do you care? You didn't even know me. Because I owed your father a debt I can never repay. Leo's hands curled into fists on the table. 6 years ago, I was set up. Ambushed. 3 men with guns in an alley. Execution style. Just like your father. I should have died. What happened? Your father happened. He was nearby on surveillance. Heard the shots. He could have stayed hidden, should have stayed hidden to protect his cover. Instead, he called it in. Drew fire away from me. Saved my life. Leo's voice roughened. I never got to thank him. 3 months later, he was dead. Cheryl stared at this dangerous man across from her. A Mafia boss who looked at her with something almost like shame. I failed him, Leo said quietly. I had the resources, the connections, the power, and I failed to find who killed him. Failed to protect the one thing he cared about most. His eyes met hers. You didn't know I existed. I do now. Leo stood, his presence filling the small space. Marcus Ryder wants to erase you to cover up a murder. But that murder connects to your father's death, which means if we take Marcus down, we might finally expose who killed Daniel West. Cheryl's heart hammered. How? By making you the one thing Marcus fears most. A grim smile touched Leo's lips. A witness who isn't running anymore. The next 3 days were the longest of Cheryl's life. Leo had insisted on walking her home that first night, his presence a silent shield against the shadows. He'd checked every corner of her tiny room above the pawn shop, tested the locks, and left his number written on a piece of paper taped to her mirror. Anything happens, anything feels wrong, you call. She'd stared at those words every morning since. Marcus didn't come back to Rusty Jack's. But his presence lingered like smoke, thick and suffocating. His crew still came different faces each night, always watching, always whispering, and the accident started. Small things at first. Thursday night, someone bumped into Cheryl hard enough to send her crashing into a table. Drinks spilled, customers complained. Jack yelled at her for being careless. Sorry, the guy muttered, smirking as he walked away. Friday, her locker was broken into. Nothing stolen, just her spare uniform shredded with a knife and left in pieces. A message written in permanent marker on the inside of the door. Tick-tock. Saturday, someone accidentally left a mop bucket right where she'd walk. She nearly broke her ankle stepping into it. The kitchen erupted in laughter. Rita pulled her aside during the break. They're testing you, seeing if you'll break. I won't. But her voice shook. Cheryl. Rita gripped her shoulders. This isn't just bar drama anymore. Marcus is making a statement. Every day you stay here, you're defying him, and he doesn't forget defiance. What am I supposed to do? Quit? Run again? Maybe. Rita's eyes filled with worry. Leo can't be everywhere at once, and Marcus knows it. Sunday night proved her right. Cheryl was clearing table 12 when she felt it, the cold prickle of being watched. She turned slowly. Marcus's cousin, a wiry man named Eddie, sat 3 tables away. He raised his beer bottle to her in mock salute. Her hands trembled as she loaded the dirty glasses onto her tray. Keep moving. Don't react. Don't give him the satisfaction. She headed toward the bar, but Eddie stood and deliberately stepped into her path. She tried to go around him. He sidestepped, blocking her again. Excuse me, she said quietly. Oh, sorry. He grinned. Didn't see you there. He moved aside just enough for her to pass, then stuck his foot out. Cheryl went down hard. The tray flew from her hands. Glasses exploded across the floor. The crash silenced the entire bar. Eddie laughed. Wow, clumsy tonight, huh? Cheryl pushed herself up, her palms bleeding from the broken glass. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She refused to give him that. Jack stormed over. What the hell is going on? She tripped, Eddie said innocently. Wasn't watching where she was going. Bull, Cheryl started. Enough, Jack pointed at her. You're cleaning this up, and it's coming out of your tips. But I don't want to hear it. Jack walked away, muttering about insurance and liability. Eddie leaned down as she knelt to pick up the glass. His voice dropped to a whisper. Marcus says you've got 48 hours to leave town. After that, accidents are going to get a lot worse. He walked out, leaving her bleeding on the floor. Rita appeared with a first aid kit and a broom. Come on, let's get you patched up. In the back room, Rita cleaned the cuts on Cheryl's hands while Cheryl stared at nothing. Why me? Cheryl whispered. Why can't he just let me go? Because you saw him kill someone. Rita taped gauze around her palm. And because Leo Castellano stepped in. That made this personal for Marcus. It's not just about silencing you anymore, it's about proving he's not afraid of Leo. Then I'm just a pawn in someone else's war. Maybe, but pawns can still win games. Rita squeezed her shoulder. You're stronger than you think. Cheryl didn't feel strong. She felt like she was drowning. She finished her shift with bandaged hands and a heart full of lead. Every step toward the exit felt like walking through quicksand. The night air hit her face, cold and sharp. The street was empty. Too empty. Something's wrong. She walked faster. Keys gripped between her fingers like weapons. Her apartment was 3 blocks away. She could make it. She just had to. Footsteps echoed behind her. Cheryl broke into a run. The footsteps matched her pace. 2 sets. Maybe 3. Don't look back. Just run. She rounded the corner toward the pawn shop and slammed directly into someone. Hands grabbed her arms. She screamed, "Easy, easy, it's me." Leo's voice cut through her panic. She looked up. Leo stood in front of her, his suit jacket gone, sleeves rolled up. Behind him stood two men she didn't recognize, both built like tanks, both wearing the same cold expression. The footsteps behind her stopped. She turned. Eddie and another one of Marcus's guys stood frozen 10 feet away. Leo's voice carried across the space, quiet and lethal. "You following her?" "Just walking," Eddie said. "Public sidewalk. Walk somewhere else." "Or what?" Leo took one step forward. Just one. But Eddie and his friends stumbled backward like he'd shoved them. "Go," Leo said. They went. Leo turned to Cheryl. In the streetlight, she could see the tension in his jaw, the barely controlled rage in his eyes. "How long have they been following you?" "I don't know. Since I left work," he cursed under his breath. "This is escalating faster than I thought. He gave me 48 hours to leave town." "You're not leaving." Leo's voice was steel. "But you're not staying in that apartment anymore either. I can't afford anywhere else. You're staying at one of my properties. Protected. Secure. I don't want to owe you. You don't owe me anything." He gestured to one of his men. "Nico, take her to the safe house on 7th. Make sure she gets inside." "Wait." Cheryl grabbed his arm. "What are you going to do?" Leo's expression went cold. "I'm going to have a conversation with Marcus Ryder. The kind he understands. That'll start a war." "The war already started." He gently removed her hand from his arm. "The moment he put his hands on you. I'm just making the terms clear. Leo, go with Nico. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but him or me." His eyes softened slightly. "I failed your father. I won't fail you." Before she could respond, he was gone, disappearing into the night like a ghost. Nico, a mountain of a man with kind eyes, gestured to a black SUV. "Come on, Miss West. Let's get you somewhere safe." As they drove through the empty streets, Cheryl realized something terrifying. She wasn't just running anymore. She was the reason two very dangerous men were about to go to war, and there was no going back. The safe house on 7th Street was nothing like Cheryl expected. She'd imagined something cold and industrial, concrete walls, barred windows, the kind of place where criminals hid from the law. Instead, Nico led her into a modest 2-bedroom apartment above a closed bakery. Hardwood floors, clean furniture, windows with actual curtains. "Boss owns the whole building," Nico explained, checking the locks. "You need anything, I'm right downstairs. Don't open the door for anyone." "When will Leo be back?" Nico's expression darkened. "When he's done." She didn't sleep. Couldn't. She sat on the couch, watching the street through a gap in the curtains, waiting for headlights that never came. Her phone, a cheap prepaid she'd bought when she first arrived, sat silent on the coffee table. At 3 a.m., she finally dozed off. At 7 a.m., her alarm buzzed. Work. She still had a shift at Rusty Jack's. She texted the number Leo had given her. "Do I still go to work?" The response came immediately. "No, stay inside. I'll handle Jack." But sitting alone in the apartment felt like suffocating. And she needed the money. She needed normalcy, even if it was fake. At 6 p.m., she slipped out while Nico was checking the perimeter. The walk to Rusty Jack's felt like moving through a dream. Every shadow held a threat. Every passing car could be Marcus. But the streets were quiet, almost too quiet. The bar was already filling up when she arrived. Jack looked up from the register, surprised. "Thought you weren't coming in? I need the work." He studied her face, then shrugged. "Your funeral. Rita's in the back." The shift started normally. Orders came in. Drinks went out. The usual Sunday night crowd settled into their usual spots. But there was an edge to the atmosphere, like everyone was waiting for something to happen. At 8:30, the door opened. Marcus Ryder walked in. The bar didn't go silent this time. But conversations dropped to murmurs. People shifted in their seats. Marcus's presence filled the room like poison gas. He looked different. His jaw was bruised. His knuckles were wrapped. And his eyes burned with barely controlled rage. Rita grabbed Cheryl's arm. "Get in the back. Now." "He'll just follow. Then let Jack handle it." But Jack was already heading toward Marcus, hands raised. "Marcus, maybe tonight's not." "I'm a paying customer." Marcus's voice carried across the room. "I got a right to be here." Sure. Just keep it civil." Marcus smiled, a terrible, empty thing. His eyes found Cheryl. "Don't worry, Jack. I'm just here for a drink." He walked to his usual table and sat down. 4 of his crew filed in behind him, forming a wall of muscle and malice. Cheryl's hands shook as she loaded glasses onto her tray. She could feel his eyes on her, could feel the weight of his attention like a physical thing. Someone needs to serve them, Jack muttered. I'll do it, Rita said quickly. No. Marcus's voice cut through the noise. I want the new girl. Cheryl. That's your name, right? Every eye in the bar turned to her. Cheryl's throat went dry. What do you want? Just a beer. That so hard? His smile widened. Unless you're scared of me, don't give him the satisfaction. Don't let him see you break. She walked to the bar, poured a draft with trembling hands, and carried it to his table. The walk felt like miles, like walking toward a cliff edge. She set the glass down. Anything else? Marcus looked at the beer, then at her. You know what? I changed my mind. I want whiskey. She took the beer back, returned with whiskey. Actually make it vodka. Back to the bar. Vodka, this time. Nah, tequila. His crew laughed. The bar watched, some in pity, some in cruel amusement. Marcus. Jack's voice held a warning. Come on, man. What? I'm being polite. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Unless Cheryl here has a problem serving customers? 4 trips, 5, 6. Each time he changed his order. Each time his crew laughed harder. On the 7th trip, Cheryl set down a rum and coke, exactly what he'd asked for. Marcus picked it up, examined it, then deliberately poured it onto the floor. Oops, better clean that up. Something inside, Cheryl snapped. No, she said quietly. The bar went dead silent. Marcus's smile vanished. What did you say? I said no. Clean it up yourself. His chair scraped back as he stood. You think because Leo Castellano said a few words, you're untouchable? You think I'm afraid of him? I think you're a coward who can only feel powerful by hurting people weaker than you. Marcus's face went red. You little... His hand shot out, grabbing a fistful of her hair. Pain exploded across her scalp as he yanked her forward. You don't talk to me like that, he snarled. You don't disrespect me in my bar. The tray fell from her hands. Glass shattered everywhere. Someone screamed. Marcus's other hand grabbed her throat. I should have finished you in Sacramento, he whispered, loud enough for only her to hear. Should have put a bullet in you right next to that snitch. Cheryl couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. His grip tightened. 1 second. The front door exploded inward. 2 seconds. Leo Castellano stepped through, flanked by 6 men in dark suits. 3 seconds. His eyes found Marcus's hand around Cheryl's throat. 4 seconds. Something changed in Leo's expression. Something primal and deadly. 5 seconds. Let her go. The words dropped like stones into still water. Marcus released her. Cheryl collapsed, gasping. Rita pulled her away as Leo walked forward, each step measured. Controlled, lethal. You were told to stay away from her. This is my bar. Marcus spat. No. Leo stopped 3 feet away. This was neutral ground. You just made it a war zone. Marcus pulled a knife. You think I'm scared of you? Leo didn't flinch. You should be. What happened next lasted seconds but felt like hours. Marcus lunged. Leo moved faster than someone his size should move. The knife clattered to the floor. Marcus's arm bent at an impossible angle. He screamed. Leo's voice was ice. You put your hands on her. That was your last mistake. You're starting a war over some waitress? I'm ending one. Leo released him, and Marcus crumpled. Tell Romano this is his only warning. Anyone touches her again, I burn his entire operation to the ground. Marcus crawled toward the door, his crew scrambling after him. Leo turned to Cheryl. His expression softened. You okay? She nodded, even though it was a lie. Good. He looked at Jack. She's done working here. This place isn't safe. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He took off his jacket and draped it around Cheryl's shoulders. Come on, he said gently. Let's go home. And for the first time in her life, Cheryl let someone protect her. Leo didn't speak during the drive. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel, jaw clenched so tight Cheryl could see the muscle jumping beneath his skin. The 2 SUVs following them maintained a careful distance. His men, she realized, an armed convoy through the empty streets of Ravenna Hills. She pulled his jacket tighter around her shoulders. It smelled like expensive cologne and gunpowder. I'm sorry, she whispered. His eyes flicked to her, then back to the road. For what? For talking back to him, for making things worse. The car jerked to a stop at a red light. Leo turned to face her fully, and the intensity in his gaze stole her breath. Don't you dare apologize for standing up to that animal. His voice was low, controlled fury. He put his hands on you. He threatened your life. The only person who should be sorry is the one who's going to wake up in a hospital bed tomorrow. You broke his arm. I should have broken his neck. The light turned green. Leo drove. They didn't go back to the safe house. Instead, Leo pulled into an underground garage beneath a building Cheryl had never noticed before. Sleek glass and steel, completely out of place in this part of the city. Where are we? My office. He killed the engine. We need to talk. Really talk. The elevator ride to the top floor was silent except for the mechanical hum. When the doors opened, Cheryl stepped into a space that belonged in a different world. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimalist furniture. Art on the walls that probably cost more than she'd make in 10 years. Leo's men filed in behind them. He gestured to a leather couch. Sit, please. She sat. He poured 2 glasses of water from a crystal decanter and handed her one. You're shaking, he observed. I'm fine. You're not. He sat across from her, forearms on his knees. And that's okay. What happened tonight, that was assault. You have every right to be scared. I'm not scared. The lie tasted bitter. I'm angry. Something like respect flickered in his eyes. Good. Use that. One of his men, an older guy with silver hair and a scar across his cheek, stepped forward. Boss, we got a problem. Leo's expression hardened. Talk. Marcus went straight to Romano. Word is they're calling in reinforcements from the North District. They're saying you declared war over a nobody. She's not a nobody. I know that. But Romano doesn't care about debts or honor. He cares about territory. And by protecting her, you've drawn a line. Leo stood, walking to the window. The city sprawled beneath him, a patchwork of lights and shadows. Then we make our position clear. Put word out, anyone who touches Cheryl West answers to me directly. Anyone who works with Marcus answers to me. And tell Romano I want to sit down. He won't agree to meet. Then make him. The silver-haired man nodded and left with 2 others. The room felt suddenly larger, emptier. Cheryl set down her water glass. Leo, I can't let you start a war over me. You're not letting me do anything. I'm choosing this. Why? She stood, frustration boiling over. You barely know me. You owed my father. Fine, but is one debt worth destroying everything you've built? He turned from the window, and the look on his face made her step back. Your father saved my life when he had every reason to let me die. He chose mercy when the world taught him cruelty. And when he needed help, when someone set him up and executed him, I had all the power and resources to find his killer, and I failed. His voice cracked. Do you understand what that's like? To owe someone everything and fail them when it mattered most? That wasn't your fault, wasn't it? He moved closer. I run half this city. I have eyes everywhere, leverage on everyone. But I couldn't or wouldn't dig deep enough to find who killed a good man. And then his daughter walks into a bar I frequent, and I almost let history repeat itself. Cheryl's throat tightened. You saved me. Almost too late. If I'd been 5 minutes later tonight. He stopped, composing himself. You asked why I'm willing to start a war. Because you're not just Daniel West's daughter. You're a witness to a murder that connects to your father's death. You're the key to everything. What do you mean? Leo walked to his desk and pulled out a file folder. After you told me what you saw in Sacramento, I made calls, pulled in favors, had people dig into Marcus Ryder's background. He spread photos across the desk. Crime scenes, documents, names Cheryl didn't recognize. The man Marcus killed, Antonio Vega, was about to testify in a federal corruption case, the same case your father was building before he died. Vega had evidence that would have exposed a network of dirty cops, politicians, and organized crime figures working together. Cheryl's hands went cold. And Marcus was hired to kill him by someone in that network. Someone who's still active, still protected. Leo's finger tapped one of the photos. Romano has ties to that network. He's been moving product through police-protected routes for years. Your father was getting close to exposing him. So they killed my father. Yes. And when you witnessed Marcus killing Vega, you became the thread that could unravel everything. You're not just a witness. You're proof that the conspiracy is still operational. The room spun. Cheryl gripped the desk for support. I don't have evidence. I just saw him shoot someone. Your testimony puts Marcus at the scene. Marcus will flip on Romano to save himself. Romano will flip on the dirty cops. The whole network falls like dominoes. Leo's eyes burned with determination. But only if you're alive to testify. They'll never let that happen. I know. He closed the file. That's why Romano just sent word. What word? Leo's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his expression going dark. He's offering a deal. He'll call off Marcus and leave you alone if I hand you over for a conversation first. What kind of conversation? The kind people don't walk away from. Leo pocketed his phone. Obviously. I declined. Obviously. Did you think I'd actually consider it? Cheryl didn't know what to think anymore. What happens now? Now? Leo's smile was cold and sharp. Now I make Romano understand that protecting you isn't negotiable, and if he wants war, he'll get one. The elevator dinged. The silver-haired man returned, his face grim. Boss, we got movement. 6 of Romano's cars just left his compound. They're heading east. Toward the docks? Toward your warehouse on 5th. Leo cursed. He's hitting our operation, trying to draw us out. It's working. The guys are asking for permission to engage. Tell them to hold position. Don't fire unless fired upon. Leo, wait, Cheryl started. He turned back. Stay here. Nico and 2 others will stay with you. Lock the door. Don't leave. You're walking into a trap. I know. His smile didn't reach his eyes. But Romano needs to learn that going after my people has consequences. And right now, Cheryl, whether you like it or not, you're my people. He was at the elevator when she called out. Leo? He paused. Don't die for me. His expression softened. I don't plan to. The doors closed. And he was gone. Cheryl stood alone in the massive office, surrounded by wealth and power that couldn't protect her from what was coming. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. The war had begun, and she was the reason for all of it. The office felt like a cage. Cheryl paced the length of the windows, watching the city lights blur through her anxious tears. Nico stood by the door, arms crossed, expression unreadable. 2 other guards flanked the elevator, silent sentinels in expensive suits. How long has it been? She asked for the 3rd time. Nico checked his watch. 40 minutes. Shouldn't we have heard something by now? Boss will call when there's news. When there's news, not if. As if Leo getting shot or killed was just another item on tonight's agenda. Cheryl pressed her forehead against the cold glass. Somewhere out there, men were fighting because of her, maybe dying. All because she'd taken a shortcut through the wrong alley 3 months ago. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But something, instinct, desperation, stupidity made her swipe. Hello? Heavy breathing. Then Marcus's voice strained with pain. You cost me everything. Her blood turned to ice. How did you get this number? Doesn't matter. What matters is, Leo's not here to protect you right now, is he? He's busy playing gangster at the warehouse. Marcus laughed, the sound wet and broken. Left you all alone in that fancy office with just 3 guys. Cheryl's eyes shot to Nico. I'm not alone. Nico Torres, 6'3", 220, ex-military. The other 2 are Petrov and Chen. Good men, loyal. Marcus's voice dropped to a whisper. But everyone has a price, and Romano just paid it. You're lying. Am I? A sound behind her. Soft, almost imperceptible. The scrape of metal on metal. Cheryl spun around. Nico's gun was pointed at her. I'm sorry, he said, and his eyes actually looked sorry. My daughter needs surgery. Romano offered $200,000. The other 2 guards had their weapons drawn too, not at her, but at each other, creating a Mexican standoff. Nico, don't do this, Cheryl whispered. Put the phone down, slowly. She set it on the desk, her hands shaking so badly she almost dropped it. Romano just wants to talk, Nico continued. That's all, a conversation. Then this ends. You know that's a lie. Maybe. His jaw tightened. But my little girl gets to live. So I guess I'm okay being a liar. Petrov, the younger guard with kind eyes, shifted his aim toward Nico. Boss trusted you. We all did. Boss isn't here, Nico shot back. And when Romano wins this war, Leo Castellano's gonna be dead anyway. I'm just playing the smart odds. Except Leo doesn't lose, Chen said quietly. He was older, calmer, and when he finds out you betrayed him, he won't find out if everyone here keeps their mouths shut. Nico gestured to Cheryl. Come here, now. And if I don't, he pointed the gun at Petrov. Then I shoot him, then Chen, then you. Or you come quietly, and maybe they get to live. Cheryl's mind raced. Leo was at the warehouse. His phone was probably turned off or silenced during the confrontation. And even if she screamed, who would hear her on the top floor of a soundproofed building? Clocks ticking, Marcus said through the phone, his voice carrying across the room. Nico, you got 5 minutes to get her downstairs. Cars waiting in the garage. Cheryl took a step toward Nico. Then another. Good girl, he murmured. She was 3 feet away when the elevator dinged. Everyone froze. The doors slid open. Rita stood there, holding a cardboard tray with coffee cups, eyes wide behind her glasses. Oh, Leo asked me to bring coffee. Nico turned toward her for just a second. Cheryl grabbed the crystal decanter from the side table and swung with everything she had. It shattered against Nico's temple. He dropped like a stone. Petrov and Chen fired not at her. At the elevator. Rita screamed and dove to the floor as bullets sparked off metal. The doors slid shut, trapping her inside. Cheryl ran. Not toward the elevator, toward the emergency stairwell in the back. Her hands fumbled with the door handle. Locked. She needed a keycard. Footsteps pounded behind her. Arms grabbed her from behind Chen, pulling her into the corner. Stay down. Petrov was firing at something. Smoke filled the office. The windows shattered inward. What? 3 figures in black masks rappelled through the broken glass on tactical ropes. Military grade. Professional. Romano's reinforcements. Chen pushed her toward the bathroom. Lock yourself in. Don't come out until... A bullet caught him in the shoulder. He spun and fell. Cheryl screamed. One of the masked figures grabbed her, lifting her off the ground like she weighed nothing. She kicked, clawed, bit anything to break free. Sedate her, a muffled voice ordered. A needle pricked her neck. The world went fuzzy at the edges. Sounds became distant. Her limbs turned to lead. The last thing she saw before darkness took her was Petrov on the ground, bleeding, reaching for his phone, trying to call Leo, trying to warn him. Cheryl woke to cold concrete and the smell of rust. Her head throbbed. Her mouth tasted like copper. Zip ties bit into her wrists, securing her to a metal pipe behind her back. She blinked until her vision cleared. She was in some kind of storage room. Boxes stacked against walls. A single bulb hanging from the ceiling. No windows. One door closed, probably locked. And sitting in a folding chair 10 feet away, holding an ice pack to his swollen jaw, was Marcus Ryder. Welcome back, he said. Cheryl's voice came out hoarse. Where am I? Somewhere Leo Castellano will never find you. At least not in time. Marcus tossed the ice pack aside and stood. You know what the best part about this is? Leo's at the warehouse right now, fighting Romano's guys. He thinks that's the real battle. Doesn't know it was just a distraction. He'll figure it out. Maybe. Eventually. Marcus pulled out a knife, the same one Leo had taken from him. He'd gotten another. But we've got at least 2 hours before his guys regroup and start searching. 2 hours is more than enough time. For what? He walked closer, crouching so they were eye level. For you to tell me exactly what you saw that night in Sacramento. Every detail. Who else you told. What evidence you have. Where you hid it. I don't have any evidence. I told you I just saw the knife pressed against her throat. Not cutting, just promising. Wrong answer. Marcus's breath was hot on her face. See, here's the thing. Romano's paying me a lot of money to clean up this mess. But I got a personal stake in this too. You made me look weak in front of the whole bar. In front of Leo. In front of everyone. So this is about ego? This is about respect. He pulled back slightly. I run these streets. Me. Not Leo with his suits and his fancy office. Not Romano with his connections. Me. And you some nobody waitress, you humiliated me. Good, Cheryl spat. You deserved it. His fist connected with her face. Pain exploded across her jaw. Blood filled her mouth. We've got 2 hours, Marcus repeated, standing. Let's see how tough you are after the first one. He walked to a table she hadn't noticed before. Tools laid out in neat rows, pliers, a blowtorch, things she couldn't identify and didn't want to. Cheryl's heart hammered against her ribs. Leo. God, please. Leo, find me. But Leo was at the warehouse, fighting the wrong battle, and she was alone with the man who'd killed her father's witness, the man who'd been ordered to make her disappear. Marcus selected the pliers and turned back to her, smiling. Let's begin. The first thing Leo noticed when he returned to the office was the silence. Not the peaceful kind, the wrong kind. The kind that screamed danger. His hand went to his gun as he stepped off the elevator. Shattered glass crunched under his boots. Bullet holes peppered the walls. Blood stained the marble floor. Nico! He shouted. No answer. Petrov lay slumped against the desk. Phone still clutched in his hand, blood pooling beneath him. Leo dropped to his knees, pressing fingers against his neck. Faint pulse. Stay with me. Leo grabbed his own phone, dialing. I need an ambulance at the tower, penthouse level. Officer down. Multiple gunshot wounds. Petrov's eyes fluttered open. Boss. Don't talk. Save your strength. They took her. Blood bubbled at Petrov's lips. Nico. Betrayed us. Romano's men. Came through the windows. Leo's blood turned to ice. Where did they take her? Don't. No. Happened. Fast. Petrov coughed, grimacing. Chen's. In the bathroom. Critical. Leo ran to the bathroom. Chen was conscious, clutching his shoulder, phone pressed to his ear with his good hand. Tracking Nico's phone, Chen gasped. Got a location before it went dead. Old meatpacking district. Warehouse on Polk Street. How long ago? 30 minutes. Maybe 40. Too long. Way too long. Leo's mind raced through scenarios, each one worse than the last. Marcus had her. Marcus, who'd already tried to kill her once. Who had nothing left to lose. Boss. Chen grabbed his arm with surprising strength. Nico said something before they took her. Said Romano promised him $200,000 for his daughter's surgery. Leo's jaw clenched. Nico had a sick kid, everyone knew it. Romano had found the perfect pressure point and exploited it. His daughter can have the surgery, Leo said quietly. On me, after I kill her father. Sirens wailed outside. The ambulance was close. Leo stood, pulling out his phone. He dialed his second in command. Vince. Gather everyone. Every single man we have. Arm them. Meet me at the meatpacking district, Polk Street. We're going to war. Boss, what happened? They took Cheryl. A pause. Then, we'll burn the whole district down if we have to. That's exactly what we're going to do. Leo hung up and looked at Chen. Stay alive. That's an order. Chen managed a weak smile. Yes, sir. Leo ran for the stairs, taking them 3 at a time. His mind supplied images he couldn't stop. Cheryl, terrified. Marcus with his knife. The things men like him did to people who couldn't fight back. Hold on. Just hold on. The garage was chaos. His men were already mobilizing, checking weapons, loading into vehicles. Vince appeared at his side, grim-faced. Intel says Romano's men cleared out after grabbing her. Left Nico unconscious in your office. He's in custody now, singing like a canary. What did he say? Marcus has her. Romano gave him 2 hours to handle the situation before they dispose of the body. Vince's voice was tight with controlled rage. Boss, if Marcus is following Romano's playbook, I know what he'll do. Leo's hands clenched into fists. That's why we're not wasting time. Move out. Now. 6 SUVs roared out of the garage in formation, running red lights, scattering traffic. Leo sat in the lead vehicle, loading his gun with methodical precision. His phone buzzed. Unknown number, he answered. What? Leo Castellano. Romano's smooth voice oozed through the speaker. I hear you're missing something. Where is she? Safe. For now. Marcus is very thorough, but I told him to take his time. Make sure she doesn't have any evidence hidden away before, well, you know, if he touches her. You'll what? Start a war? Romano laughed. The war already started, my friend. You chose a side when you stepped between Marcus and that girl. Now you live with the consequences. Name your price. Excuse me? You heard me. Name your price. Money, territory, product, whatever you want. Just give her back. Silence. Then Romano's voice, amused. You'd really trade everything for her? A nobody waitress? Yes. Interesting. Romano paused. Unfortunately, it's too late for deals. She knows too much, saw too much. And thanks to your father's crusade 4 years ago, yes. I know about Daniel West. She's a loose thread I can't afford to leave dangling. Leo's blood ran cold. You killed her father? I gave the order, yes. He was getting too close to some very important people. People who pay me very well to keep them protected. Romano's voice hardened. So you see, Leo, this isn't personal. It's just business. The girl dies, Marcus gets paid. And you get to decide if you want to die with her or walk away. I'm not walking away. Then you're a fool. But at least you'll die with honor. Romano hung up. Vince glanced over. What did he say? He confessed to ordering the hit on Daniel West. He's protected by dirty cops and politicians. And he's not giving Cheryl back. Leo's voice was ice. So we take her back. The meatpacking district loomed ahead, abandoned warehouses and crumbling buildings, perfect for things that needed to stay hidden. Leo's convoy screeched to a halt outside the largest structure, a 3-story building with broken windows and graffiti-covered walls. 20 of his men spread out, covering exits. Leo kicked in the front door. Empty. Just rotting equipment and rat droppings. Spread out. Search everything. She's here somewhere. They moved through the building like a tactical unit. Fast, efficient, deadly. Leo's heart hammered as they cleared room after room. Nothing. Then he heard it. Faint. From below. A scream. Basement! Leo ran toward the sound. Vince and 3 others behind him. They found the stairs concrete, steep, descending into darkness. Another scream. Closer now. Cheryl's voice, raw with pain. Leo took the stairs 4 at a time. The basement door was steel, locked from inside. He didn't hesitate, fired 3 rounds into the lock mechanism and kicked it open. The scene inside would haunt him forever. Cheryl was zip-tied to a pipe, her face bruised and bloody. Marcus stood over her, pliers in one hand, her finger trapped between the metal teeth. Blood dripped onto the concrete floor. Time froze. Marcus looked up, eyes wide. Leo fired. The bullet caught Marcus in the shoulder, spinning him around. The pliers clattered to the floor. Down! Vince shouted. 2 of Romano's men emerged from the shadows, firing. Leo's men returned fire. The basement erupted into chaos, gunshots echoing off concrete, muzzle flashes lighting the darkness. Leo ran to Cheryl, shielding her body with his. A bullet whistled past his ear. Another sparked off the pipe above them. I've got you, he said, cutting through the zip ties with his knife. I've got you. Her eyes were glazed with shock and pain. Leo, don't talk. Save your strength. Marcus was crawling toward a gun on the floor, leaving a blood trail. Leo stood, walked over, and kicked it away. Please, Marcus gasped. I was just following orders. So was my father when he saved my life. The difference is, he chose mercy. Leo's voice was devoid of emotion. I choose justice. Wait. Leo fired twice. Center mass, final. Marcus stopped moving. The gunfire ceased. Vince appeared at the doorway. Building's clear. Romano's men are either dead or running. Leo holstered his weapon and returned to Cheryl. She was trembling violently, going into shock. He lifted her carefully, cradling her against his chest. Ambulance is 2 minutes out, Vince reported. Tell them to hurry. Leo looked down at Cheryl's battered face. You're safe now. I promise. You're safe. Her hand clutched his shirt. My father. I know, Romano confessed. We have it recorded. Everything. His voice cracked. I'm so sorry I wasn't here sooner. You came. Always. He carried her up the stairs, into the night air. I'll always come for you. Behind them, Marcus Ryder lay dead in a pool of his own blood. The first domino had fallen. 3 days later, Cheryl woke up in a private hospital room that looked more like a luxury hotel suite. Flowers covered every surface. Cards from people she didn't know. And sitting in the chair beside her bed, looking like he hadn't slept in 72 hours, was Leo Castellano. You're awake, he said softly. Cheryl tried to speak. Her throat was raw. Leo immediately offered water, helping her sip through a straw. How long? She croaked. 3 days. You had a concussion, 2 cracked ribs, and severe trauma to your hand. His jaw tightened. The doctors saved your finger. Full recovery expected. She looked at her bandaged right hand. Remembered the pliers. Remembered Marcus's smile as he... Don't. Leo's voice cut through the memory. He's dead. He can't hurt you anymore. What about Romano? Leo's expression darkened. That's complicated. Complicated how? He stood, walking to the window. Outside, rain streaked the glass, turning the city into a watercolor blur. After we rescued you, I put word out. Romano either meets with me or I dismantle his entire organization piece by piece. And he agreed to meet. Tonight. Neutral ground. Leo turned back to her. But there's something you need to know first. Cheryl pushed herself up despite the pain. What? When Marcus tortured you, he was recording it. Leo's hands clenched. Romano planned to use the footage as leverage proof that you were unstable, traumatized, an unreliable witness. But my men found the camera before Romano could retrieve it. So now we have Marcus on recording, confessing to killing Antonio Vega in Sacramento, confessing that Romano ordered the hit, and... Leo paused. Confessing that the same dirty cops who killed your father are still on Romano's payroll. Cheryl's breath caught. Names? 3 detectives. 1 captain, 2 city councilmen, a district attorney. Leo's voice was ice. The entire corruption network your father died investigating. Tears burned her eyes. My father was right. He was right about all of it. Yes, and now we can prove it. But, Leo sat on the edge of her bed. It comes with a price. What price? You'll have to testify. In court. Public record. Your face, your name, everything exposed. Romano's lawyers will tear you apart on the stand. And even if we win, you'll spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder. Cheryl was quiet for a long moment. Then, my father spent 3 years building this case. He died trying to expose these people. And I've spent 4 years running, hiding, pretending he died for nothing. She met Leo's eyes. I'm done running. Something shifted in his expression, pride, maybe, or admiration. You're sure? My father deserves justice. Antonio Vega deserves justice. All the people Romano and his network destroyed, they deserve justice. Her voice strengthened. So yes, I'll testify. I'll stand in front of the whole world and tell them what I saw. Leo nodded slowly. Then tonight, when I meet with Romano, I'm bringing you. What? No, he'll kill me. Not if we do this right. Leo pulled out his phone, showing her a document. This is a signed affidavit from Nico Torres, explaining how Romano paid him to betray me and kidnap you. Combined with Marcus's confession, we have enough evidence to bring Romano down legally. But Romano doesn't know we have all this. So the meeting is a trap. For him. Leo's smile was predatory. He thinks he's meeting me to negotiate. Instead, he's walking into a room full of federal agents. You're working with the FBI? As of this morning, yes. They've been trying to build a case against Romano for years. I handed them everything they needed on a silver platter. He pocketed his phone. But they need you there. To identify Romano. To corroborate Marcus's confession. To be the face of justice. Cheryl looked at her bandaged hand. Thought of her father's grave. The headstone that said he died in the line of duty. Thought of Marcus's final moments. Crawling in his own blood. When do we leave? In 4 hours. Leo stood. I'll have someone bring you clothes. Something professional. And Cheryl? Yes. Whatever happens tonight, I'll be right beside you. The meeting was set at an upscale restaurant Romano owned neutral ground, he'd insisted. But federal agents had already swept the building, planting surveillance equipment in every corner. Cheryl wore a simple black dress Leo's people had provided. Her hand was still bandaged, but she could move her fingers. The bruises on her face had faded to yellow-green shadows. She looked like a survivor. Leo escorted her inside, his hand on the small of her back. 20 of his men formed a perimeter outside. Another dozen federal agents waited in unmarked vans. Romano sat at a table in the back, flanked by 2 bodyguards. He was older than Cheryl expected. Mid-50s, silver hair, expensive suit. He looked like a businessman, not a crime lord. He smiled when he saw them approach. Leo, and this must be the famous Cheryl West, the woman who started a war. I didn't start anything, Cheryl said quietly. You did, when you killed my father. Romano's smile didn't waver. I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about. Detective Daniel West, DEA, killed 4 years ago in a setup orchestrated by corrupt officers on your payroll. Cheryl's voice was steady, strong. You gave the order, just like you gave the order to kill Antonio Vega. Just like you gave Marcus Ryder permission to torture and kill me. Bold accusations. Romano leaned back. Do you have proof? Leo set a tablet on the table and pressed play. Marcus's voice filled the space. Tinny but clear. Romano ordered the hit on Vega, same as he ordered the hit on that cop 4 years back west. They were both getting too close to the network. Romano's expression finally cracked. His eyes went to the exits. His bodyguards tensed. Relax, Leo said. The building's surrounded. Federal agents outside. More inside. You're not leaving here in anything except handcuffs. As if on cue, a dozen agents and FBI windbreakers poured into the restaurant, weapons drawn. Vincent Romano, you're under arrest for racketeering, murder for hire, corruption, and conspiracy. The lead agent, a woman in her 40s with steel-gray eyes, read him his rights as 2 agents cuffed him. Romano glared at Leo. You're a dead man. My people will. Your people are being arrested as we speak. Every dirty cop, every corrupt official, every person on your payroll. Leo's voice was cold. You're done. Romano's eyes shifted to Cheryl. Even in handcuffs, he radiated menace. This isn't over, girl. I have friends, lawyers, Money. I'll walk. No. Cheryl stepped forward. You won't, because I'm going to testify. I'm going to tell everyone what you did to my father, to Antonio Vega, to me. And when I'm done, the world will know exactly what kind of monster you are. For the first time, Romano looked uncertain. The agents dragged him away. The restaurant emptied. Just Leo and Cheryl remained, standing in the sudden silence. It's over, Leo said. Cheryl's legs gave out. Leo caught her, holding her steady. It's really over, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. My father, he can finally rest. He'd be so proud of you. She looked up at this dangerous man who'd become her unlikely savior. What happens now? Now? Leo brushed a tear from her cheek. Now we rebuild. You testify at trial, put these bastards away. Then you decide what kind of life you want. Whatever it is, I'll make sure you have it. And you? His smile was sad. I clean up the mess. Make sure no one ever threatens you again. And maybe if you'll let me, I'll keep being part of your life. Why would you want that? I'm nothing but trouble. You're brave. You're strong. You're everything your father was and more. Leo's voice softened. You remind me that even in this dark world, there's still light worth fighting for. Cheryl didn't think. She just acted, reaching up, pulling him down, kissing him. He froze. Then kissed her back, gentle and careful, like she was something precious. When they pulled apart, both were breathless. That was, Leo started. A thank you, Cheryl finished. For saving my life, for believing me, for giving my father justice. It was more than that. I know. She smiled through her tears. But let's take it slow. I'm still figuring out who Cheryl West is when she's not running. Take all the time you need. Leo tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. I'm not going anywhere. Outside, sirens wailed as more arrests were made across the city. A corruption network that had thrived for years was finally falling apart. And in the center of it all, two broken people held onto each other and dared to hope for something better. 6 months later, Cheryl stood in front of Rusty Jack's bar, but it looked nothing like she remembered. The neon sign had been replaced, no more flickering letters. Now it read West's Place, in clean, elegant script. The windows were new, the door painted, the whole building transformed from dive bar to neighborhood gathering spot. You didn't have to do this, she said for the 100th time. Leo, standing beside her in casual clothes, jeans, and a black shirt, no suit today, smiled. You earned it. After your testimony put Romano and his network away for life, Jack wanted to retire. I bought the building. You get to decide what happens to it. Cheryl touched the new sign. West's Place. Her father's name, finally honored the way it should have been. I still can't believe it's mine. Believe it. Papers are signed. Building's yours. Do whatever you want with it. Leo handed her a set of keys. Rita's already agreed to be manager. By the way, she's inside setting up for the grand opening. Cheryl unlocked the door and stepped inside. The transformation was breathtaking. The sticky floors were gone, replaced by polished wood. New tables, new chairs, new lighting that made the space feel warm and welcoming instead of dangerous. The old jukebox had been restored and now played classic rock instead of aggressive rap. And on the wall behind the bar hung a photograph. Detective Daniel West in his dress uniform, smiling, looking proud. Cheryl's throat tightened. Rita emerged from the back, grinning. So, what do you think? It's perfect. Cheryl wiped her eyes. It's absolutely perfect. Good. Because we open in 3 hours and I need you to approve the menu. Rita thrust a clipboard at her. Also, the local news wants to do a story. Something about, from victim to victor or whatever. I told them you'd think about it. I'll think about it. That's what I said. Rita squeezed her shoulder. Your dad would be so proud, honey. You turned the place that almost destroyed you into something beautiful. After Rita left to handle deliveries, Cheryl walked slowly through the space. Every corner held memories, most of them terrible. But now those memories had been painted over, rebuilt, transformed into something new. Like her. The past 6 months had been brutal. 3 weeks of testimony, Romano's lawyers attacking her character, her credibility, her mental state. But she'd stood firm, told her story, showed her scars. The jury had deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Romano got life without parole. 3 detectives, 1 captain, 2 councilmen, and a district attorney all received lengthy sentences. The corruption network her father died investigating was finally, completely destroyed. And Cheryl had become something of a local hero, the waitress who brought down a crime empire. She wasn't sure she deserved the title. She'd just told the truth. The door chimed. Leo stepped inside, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this. You know me too well. She accepted the cup gratefully. They sat at one of the new tables, and for a moment, just existed in comfortable silence. How are you really? Leo asked finally. Honestly, I'm not sure. Cheryl traced the rim of her cup. Some days I wake up and can't believe any of this is real. That Romano's in prison. That my father's case is closed. That I own a bar. She smiled. That you're still here. Where else would I be? I don't know. Running your empire. Doing Mafia things. Leo laughed, a rare, genuine sound. I've been stepping back from Mafia things, actually. Vince is handling most of the operations now. I'm focusing on legitimate businesses. Seriously? Your father showed me mercy when he could have destroyed me. You showed me courage when it would have been easier to run. I figured it was time I showed myself something too. His expression softened. A way out. Cheryl reached across the table and took his hand. You're a good man, Leo Castellano. I'm a man trying to be good. There's a difference. Not to me. The door chimed again. Customers started trickling in, early birds for the soft opening. Rita had invited the neighborhood, promising free appetizers and discounted drinks. Within an hour, West's place was packed. Cheryl worked the floor, taking orders, greeting guests, accepting congratulations. People thanked her for her bravery, thanked her for exposing the corruption, told her she was an inspiration. She didn't feel like an inspiration. She felt like someone who'd survived and was trying to figure out what came next. But maybe that was enough. At closing time, after the last customer left and Rita had gone home, Cheryl stood behind the bar, her bar, and looked at her father's photograph. I did it, Dad, she whispered. I finished what you started. I made sure they paid for what they did to you. She could almost hear his voice. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. So damn proud. Arms wrapped around her waist from behind. Leo, resting his chin on her shoulder. You okay? He murmured. Yeah. She leaned back against him. For the first time in 4 years, I'm actually okay. They stood like that for a long moment, wrapped in each other and the peaceful silence of a dream fulfilled. What happens now? Leo asked. Cheryl smiled. Now we live. No more running. No more hiding. No more fear. She turned in his arms. Just life. Whatever that looks like. Sounds perfect. It does, doesn't it? Leo kissed her, slow and sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. For what it's worth, Leo said, I think your father would have liked you ending up here. Turning something broken into something beautiful. He always said broken things could be fixed if you cared enough to try. Smart man. The best. Cheryl took one last look around West's place, her place now. The bar that had almost destroyed her. The place where Leo had first saved her life. The building that now stood as a monument to second chances and new beginnings. Then she took Leo's hand, turned off the lights, and locked the door. Tomorrow, she'd open it again. Tomorrow, she'd serve customers and build a business and continue healing. But tonight, she just wanted to be Cheryl West, not a victim, not a witness, not a survivor. Just a woman who'd been through hell and come out the other side with scars that told a story and a heart that still knew how to hope. She'd lost her father. She'd lost her innocence. She'd lost years of her life to fear and running. But she'd gained something too. The knowledge that she was stronger than she ever imagined, braver than she ever believed, and surrounded by people who would fight for her the same way she'd fought for the truth. As they walked into the night, Leo's arm around her shoulders, the city lights glowing above them, Cheryl realized something profound. Her life really had split into before and after. Before Leo stepped in, after she chose to stop running. And this, after this beautiful, terrifying, hopeful after was just beginning. 1 year later, the courtroom was packed. Cheryl sat in the witness stand, dressed professionally, voice steady as she answered the prosecutor's questions. This wasn't Romano's trial that was long over. This was the civil case. Families of Romano's victims suing his estate. And Cheryl was the star witness. Miss West, the prosecutor said gently, can you tell the court what happened the night Marcus Ryder attacked you at Rusty Jack's bar? Cheryl took a breath. She'd told this story dozens of times, but it never got easier. Marcus grabbed me. He was drunk, angry. His crew surrounded me. I thought. Her voice wavered. I thought I was going to die. And then, Leo Castellano stepped in. He told Marcus to let me go. And Marcus did. Why do you think Marcus obeyed? Because everyone knew Leo. Everyone respected him. He had the power to make people listen. The prosecutor smiled. And now? How would you describe your relationship with Mr. Castellano? Cheryl glanced at the gallery. Leo sat in the front row, watching her with quiet pride. He saved my life. Multiple times. He helped me find justice for my father. He gave me a chance to rebuild. She smiled. And he's the man I'm going to marry. The courtroom erupted in whispers. The prosecutor's smile widened. Congratulations, Miss West. Thank you. After testimony concluded, after the jury awarded the families millions in damages, after justice was served one final time, Cheryl and Leo walked out of the courthouse hand in hand. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. Cheryl ignored them all. She'd given enough of herself to the public. Now it was time to be private, time to be happy. Ready to go home? Leo asked. More than ready. Home was the apartment above West's place, the one they'd renovated together, filled with memories they'd built instead of trauma they'd survived. As they drove through the city, Cheryl looked at the engagement ring on her finger, simple, elegant, perfect. 1 year ago, she'd been a terrified waitress. Now she was a business owner, a key witness in the biggest corruption trial in city history, and a woman in love. Life was strange that way. One moment could change everything. For Cheryl West, that moment had lasted 5 seconds, and those 5 seconds had given her a lifetime. Thanks for staying with this story right till the final moment. You're the reason these stories come alive. If you're ready for another powerful journey, just tap the next video on your screen. And before you go, leave a quick comment and rate this story from 1 to 10. I'm excited to see your thoughts and connect with you down there.